Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
After that stark warning from President Obama after his intervention in the European Union debate last week, his most likely successor has followed suit. Hillary Clinton has echoed the president in backing a strong United Kingdom in a strong European Union. Leave campaigners branded the US president a lame duck after his warning that Britain would be at the back of the queue for an American trade deal if it did leave the European Union. Well, I'm joined now by one of them, the UKIP leader, Nigel Farage. Very good morning to you, Mr. Farage. Well, President Barack Obama, he's just gone, and then Hillary Clinton weighs in that. I mean, do you object on the basis that they should just keep their noses out in spite of the fact that they're the most powerful nation on earth and have a special relationship with this country?
Well, I think, you know, if we were to intervene, if a British Prime Minister was to intervene in a presidential election, America would go absolutely berserk and say this was, ridiculous outside interference. I'd rather he'd said nothing.
The outgoing leader of the UK Independence Party, Nigel Farage, has appeared on stage with Donald Trump at a campaign rally in Mississippi. Mr. Farage urged Americans to vote for Mr. Trump, saying Hillary Clinton would be a disaster. And referring to the Brexit referendum, he had this to say about the current US president.
Now the big card the Prime Minister decided to play in the referendum is he got a foreign visitor to come to London to talk to us. Yes, we were visited by one Barack Obama. And he talked down to us. He treated us as if we were nothing. One of the oldest functioning democracies in the world. And here he was telling us to vote Remain. So I, having criticised and condemned his behaviour, I could not possibly tell you how you should vote in this election. But, you know, I get it, I'm hearing you. But I will say this, if I was an American citizen, I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if you paid me. In fact, I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if she paid me.
Now, Nigel Farage has appeared alongside Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump at a rally in Mississippi. He spoke about his role in the successful campaign for Britain to leave the European Union, but stopped short of endorsing Mr. Trump for president.
What they've done over there is incredible. What you've done is amazing. You were so far-thinking, and now people are starting to say, gee, that was a great vote. You know, right after the vote, they were saying, oh, well, maybe we should redo it. This is some kind of an upset. People are starting to say you're very smart, especially with what's happening over there. So congratulations. A great honor, man. Great honor.
Well, earlier I spoke to Mr. Farage, who insisted he's not backing Mr. Trump and wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton. OK, but what you did say was, don't vote for Hillary Clinton. I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if you paid me. So if you're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton, who else is there?
Well, you can always abstain, can't you, or spoil your ballot paper.
I'm sure you're not condoning that, though, are you, Mr. Farage?
Oh, in a free democracy, you know, I have to confess, I did once write something rude on the ballot paper back in 1992 when I was faced with three political parties, all of whom supported the Maastricht Treaty. So I have done it myself. OK,
but that's not what you were saying last night, was it? You were saying vote Trump, weren't you?
If I was American, I would not vote for Clinton because Clinton represents the big banks, the big businesses, and the world that we've come to know and the world that we've just voted against with our Brexit vote.
But if you were American, would you be voting Trump then?
I'm not American.
No, but if you were American, would you be voting Trump?
Well, look, I wouldn't vote for Clinton, and I'll leave it at that, all right?
So, how did the outgoing UKIP leader go down in the United States, and who had the most to gain from their appearance together? To discuss this, joined by the HuffPost political reporter Owen Bennett and Republican commentator Stacey Hilliard. Hello to you both. Thanks for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. Stacey, to you first of all, who do you think had most to gain from appearing on that platform together yesterday?
Well, I think they both had quite a lot to gain. I think Trump is looking for that bump that he's lost in the polls since the conventions, and particularly from his disastrous last couple of weeks. But I think Farage, now that he's no longer going to be leader of UKIP, is now looking for a new purpose. And he's gone over to the U.S., he's looking to raise his profile. So I think it certainly favors him quite a bit going to the U.S. and getting his name out there, because there's a lot of multinational American companies who are very concerned about Brexit, who are looking for somebody to possibly come in and consult with them.
It does matter, Mr. Farage, because you're talking about motivation, about why he's saying it. Now, you've agreed with Boris Johnson in the past that he has a certain animus towards the UK because of Kenya and colonisation.
There is a bigger motivation, and that is, with this trip and with what he's said, he's guaranteed his financial future. He's done the bidding of the giant American corporates.
What did you think, Owen? Who do you think had most to gain? You know quite a lot about Farage, of course. You've written a couple of books about him.
I mean, picking up on what the conversation you had with Nigel earlier on, saying you wouldn't vote for Trump. I mean, he just stood on a stage with him and said, don't vote for Clinton. I mean, he really is dancing on the head of a pin if you think people are going to, after this, think, oh no, he wasn't endorsing him. I mean, it was pretty close. It was, there was no point in sort of trying to dodge the question there. And I think, Stacey's absolutely right. Farage is looking for something to do now that he's stepping down from UKIP, which is on the cusp of falling apart. So why not go over to America and try and earn some money?
But Owen, as far as Farage is concerned, we were chatting to some of the people in the audience last night. They had no idea who he was.
No, but it doesn't really matter, because he symbolises something, and he symbolises a victory, which is, what Donald Trump wants to be associated with. And what he also symbolises to a lot of people is this kind of taking on the establishment. I mean, there is an irony in Nigel Farage standing there telling an audience full of people, this was a victory against big businesses and the establishment and, wealth and that kind of stuff. And he's standing next to Donald Trump, which really represents all of those things. I mean, Nigel Farage himself paints himself as an anti-establishment figure, and in some ways he is, but of course, private school educated, worked in the city, he hardly spent his life down a coal mine, did he? So I think this is just another example of perhaps trying to sort of trick people into thinking he's something that he's not.
Were you surprised, Owen, that he was so negative about Hillary Clinton?
Oh no, not at all. I mean, Hillary Clinton represents that kind of arc of presidential power which has culminated in Barack Obama, who Farage has said a number of times he believes him to be the most anti-British US president there's ever been, which is a hell of a claim when you think about it. I mean, he was immensely annoyed with Barack Obama coming over to the UK and telling us that we would be in the back of the queue for trade deals if we voted for Brexit. He brought this up time and time again on the campaign trail.
Well, I think, if we were to intervene, if a British Prime Minister was to intervene in a presidential election, America would go absolutely berserk and say this was ridiculous outside interference. I'd rather he'd said nothing. I'd rather he'd said nothing. I'd rather he'd said nothing.